So, Earl, I did differentiate. I had one player different than you.
Okay.
Obviously, I got Michael Irvin, I got Drew Pearson, I even have CD Lamb. But there was one guy that I just felt kind of deserved it a little bit more than Dez, and Mal actually just mentioned him. It's Tony Hill. Okay?
Tony Hill.
Tony Hill.
Hmm.
Look, the guy has 3 Pro Bowlers and a Super Bowl ring. Winning a Super Bowl is like the ultimate goal in the NFL, so it means something, right? And while he wore number 80, he probably deserved to be in part of that 88 lineage. It's just that he was playing with Drew Pearson at the same time. So that's how that happened, right? But let me
Oh
just
no,
go
I
over
respect it.
let me just go over the stats here. He had 7,988 yards, 51
Yep, he did.
touchdowns,
Pearson was just behind him.
479 receptions, and a long of 75. So like the guy was elite. Like he had 3 Pro Bowlers,
Oh yeah,
like I said.
absolutely.
And like I get the Des Bryant, I get it. I don't know, the Super Bowl thing kind of pushed it over for me a little bit. That's why I went with
Not a
Tony
problem,
Hill.
man. I respect it, and I had Tony Hill up there as well. It was how I would want it to go because I went off of just
The
the heritage
88.
of the
And
'88
like that was
with
my
just
initial reaction, but I'm like, no, let me do some
oh no,
research. Let me, yeah,
it's more of just respect. It's just
yeah,
respect because it feels like the connection with them is also helping CD Lamb, and I definitely know with Pearson and Irvin it helped Dez
mm-hmm,
where Dez he was that guy that he was basically supposed to be kind of the Randy Moss that
mm-hmm,
Dallas missed,
yeah,
in which they did. And they did not want to let this dude go because he was probably going to be a next receiver to cook him
mm-hmm.
for that.
Oh,
But
yeah,
but with Dez's talent, I went off of what he did on the field, but also how it channeled with the other players.
mm-hmm,
Where this guy was playing receiver, they had him doing the special teams. Like he was an overall dynamic guy who could do it all. It's
mm-hmm,
just injuries kind of hindered that.
yeah,
But I also want to give credit to Tony Hill because he had the numbers
yeah.
and he played with Pearson. He played
Yeah,
with
he had the numbers as
Starbuck,
a number 2. That's why I was like, I
right,
gotta,
as a
gotta,
number
I
two.
gotta give it to him. Like he had these numbers, and it like him and Dez are comparable in the numbers almost. So that's why I was like, you know what, he did it as a number 2. I feel like if he was a number 1, it'd be even better. So like, I gotta give it to Tony Hill. That's my
And the thing for it is, I was going off number ones, but we're on the same path with it,
mm-hmm,
and I respect it. What
mm-hmm,
you got, Maurice?
You know what? When we did this Mount Rushmore last year, I always put the championships above everything else.
Right.
But in this case, I'm gonna have to agree with Earl.
okay,
Now,
Okay.
Lucas gave a good argument for Tony Hill, but the one stat, and I pulled it up as well, the one stat that makes a huge difference and kind of puts it in Dez's category instead of Tony Hill's is Tony Hill played 141 games.
yeah,
Dez Bryant played 119 games. Now, if he already has more receiving receptions than the receiving yards, Tony Hill almost had 8,000. Dez
Mm-hmm.
had 7,500.
mm-hmm,
If he would have played those extra games and it was even games played, the numbers would have completely been in Dez Bryant's side.
Right.
The
mm-hmm,
only difference is they both got 3 Pro Bowls. Tony Hill has a NFL championship. Dez doesn't, but he has an All Pro. I think now it's an if, but if Dez had the same amount of games played with the Dallas
mm-hmm.
Cowboys as Tony Hill, I think it would have been a no brainer.
Well,
Dez Bryant.
and like I said, if we're playing the if game here, if Tony Hill was the number 1 wide receiver on his team versus sharing reps with Drew Pearson, his numbers would be much higher as well. So, like, we could play the
Fair
if
Right.
enough.
game all we
Agreed.
want.
Fair enough. But I think player for player, I think Dez Bryant is just a better receiver. Now I didn't watch a lot of Tony Hill.
I mean, I didn't
I know he
either.
beat. I know he was a receiver and he beat the Eagles in the when they lost the Eagles in the championship game. I did watch that game, but that's one of the few games I watched back then. But yeah, my choice is Dez. I obviously have Michael Irvin 1,
Okay.
Drew Pearson 2, CD right now 3, and Dez 4th.
Okay. Not a problem. I respect it. I appreciate y'all's Mount Rushmores and yours, Lucas, as well, because Tony Hill, he definitely has that representation into that as well.